Hello guys, Brad here again with another video. Today I thought I would do a video about everybody's favorite fragrance reviewer, Jeremy Fragrance. And the title of today's video will be Top 10 Ways Jeremy Fragrance is a Marketing Genius. Now, as most of you are probably aware of by now, Jeremy Fragrance has finally formulated his first fragrance called Office for Men, and it is now available for pre-order on the Kickstarter website. Before I start my top 10 list, though, I want to clarify a couple of things. First of all, uh, number one, will I buy the fragrance? Actually, I didn't pre-order a bottle, and I don't really plan on buying a bottle of this fragrance. I would love to review it, but in order for that to happen, I would probably have to receive a free sample from either Jeremy or some other source. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but wouldn't that be great if I could be the first person to actually review this fragrance? Maybe Jeremy could send me like a promotional sample or something. I highly doubt that's going to happen. That's about as likely as the Pittsburgh Steelers making the Super Bowl this year. But we'll see, right? We'll see what'll happen there. Number two, do I think the fragrance will be any good? Now we know two things about this fragrance: that Jeremy is the one that gave the final thumbs up for this fragrance. So if you know Jeremy's taste and you like his taste, and also if you're a fan of Alberto Morales and you know his type of work, you'll probably like this fragrance. If you're not a fan of Alberto Morales or Jeremy Fragrance's tastes, then you might not like it. So that's all I can really say about that. But I do know one thing for sure, and that I do believe that it goes without saying that Jeremy is a marketing genius, and I have at least 10 things to touch upon with this whole new fragrance of his and everything that he's done to put this into place and to make himself practically a millionaire just off of this first fragrance release. So number 10 I have is the price point. He chose $160 for the price point, which is a very ballsy price point to choose, I think, because we all know you can get Dior Sauvage, you can get Bleu de Chanel, you can get any Yves Saint Laurent fragrance for a lot cheaper than that. So we're saying $160 is putting this fragrance in the same figurative ballpark as Aventus and stuff like that. So he has a lot of confidence in his fragrance to offer it for $160. And people are willing to pay that much, even though they have no idea what to expect. So there's a lot of profit margin to be had with a price point of $160, assuming, of course, that um, the fragrance can be produced for a lot cheaper than that. Now, if you would have offered the fragrance, let's say for $100, you probably could sell more bottles, but then you have to ask yourself, well, can I make up the $60 difference by making the price point $100? And also, if you do have a big increase in sales by doing that, are you going to be able to keep your quality control in your product by being able to mass produce thousands and thousands of more bottles? So I think $160 for the bottle was great for Jeremy because people were willing to pay that much, and he knew they were willing to pay that much for the fragrance. And if you look at his Kickstarter numbers, you can't argue that. Number nine is direct sales. The fact that he's selling the fragrance directly, he's not going through like Lucky Scent or Indie Sense or Macy's or Sephora. He's selling it direct to the buyer, and that means no middleman. So I'm guessing that might be as much as like 50% savings for him. I mean, if he had to sell it to Macy's for $80 and they in turn sold it for $160, you would see that Jeremy would be losing $80 a bottle just on that alone. So by going for the direct sales and having your own website, genius. You're doubling your profit right there. Let's see, we have number 8, Pretty Girl feedback. Jeremy's fragrance channel has always relied on the pretty girls and their feedback, and he's doing the same thing for his new fragrance. He's getting pretty girls to smell the fragrance, and almost every single one of them has given it a 10. I think one gave it a 9. So the average score just off of the feedback on his channel is about 9.8 or something like that, which is incredible. And we don't know how accurate this feedback is or those same feedback numbers will relate to your experience, but that's all we have to go on. So that's what we're going to assume to be correct, at least for now. Number 7, monetized advertising. Now, what I mean by that is most fragrance companies like Chanel, Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, they have to pay uh, a spokesperson, a model, to be the head of their fragrance company. You know, Brad Pitt, Matthew McConaughey, Adam Levine, and then they have to buy TV ad spots, costing probably millions of dollars for ads for these fragrances, and that cuts into your profits. So what does Jeremy do? He doesn't have commercials. He does videos on his channel that are monetized. So YouTube is paying him for advertising a fragrance that he's selling to you. Is that genius or what? So now instead of spending tens of thousands of dollars for advertising, YouTube is paying him tens of thousands of dollars to tell you how great his fragrance is. Marketing genius right there. Number 6, perfumer hype. We know that Jeremy's been going on and on about how great Alberto Morales is, the Michael Jackson of fragrances, you know, the king of freshies. What other fragrance do you know of, or celebrity fragrance do you know of, where people even care or know who the perfumer is? Practically none. But we all know who's behind Jeremy's fragrance because that's all he's been talking about for the past 6 months or so. So, genius, because not only was he able to secure the best perfumer, at least in his mind, he was able to convince thousands of his fans that Alberto Morales was the best, even though before he talked about him, they might not have even known him as a household name. Now they do. Number 5, he built himself up as the most popular and influential YouTube fragrance reviewer. So, by waiting until he had over 500,000 subscribers before he started this new fragrance, basically built up not only a fan base for his channel, but a potential seller, buyer connection as well after he came out with his new fragrance. So he didn't really need the advertisement because it was already in place right from the very beginning. Number 4, the plain packaging. Right now, if you buy his new fragrance, you will have to settle for a very generic bottle, a very generic plain, probably like a brown box. Very cheap to produce and sell, which again increases profit margin. And to make things even more interesting is that Jeremy actually promotes that as a selling point. He's saying, hey, go ahead and buy the fragrance while it's still in the tester bottle in the cheap box because it'll be never available like that again once it comes out in the official box and bottle. And you'll have something that no one else will ever have again. So it almost becomes like a keepsake or a collector's item because it's a tester bottle in a plain box. Genius. Who would do that? Who would sell a tester bottle in a plain box and try to convince you that it's better than having the full presentation? You know, crazy, but it's genius. Number 3, the suggestion of reformulation slash higher price point. So what's basically going down here is that Jeremy's saying after the Kickstarter campaign is over, not only will we have to pay more money for the fragrance, there's also some suggestion that the fragrance will be reformulated. And people are like, what? You mean this perfect fragrance will now no longer be perfect? It'll be slightly imperfect, and I could have had it when it was perfect, and now it's not perfect? Again, that's creating this hysteria that we have to buy this fragrance now while we can still get it in the first batch. So people are rushing out to buy this fragrance because they're already afraid of reformulation before it's even available. Genius. Never heard of such a thing. Number 2, the fragrance for dummies approach. Now, we all thought when Jeremy said he was coming up with the best name for fragrances that he was going to have these really cool names like, Maximum, Power, Strength. A lot of those names are already taken. So what did he do? He basically said, hey, I'm going to name each fragrance for what it's most appropriate for, and then tell everybody, hey, this is the best fragrance for that particular occasion. He's saying office is the best office fragrance. I'm sure we'll have a woman's fragrance that's going to be the best woman's fragrance. We'll have a dating fragrance. We'll have a casual or a clubbing scent that'll be the best for those occasions as well. Genius, because now he's saying, hey, forget all those other fragrances. I have the best fragrance for all those occasions right here with my company. Buy them at $160 a piece. Genius. And number one, the sense of ownership and belonging. Now, Jeremy's basically saying, hey, if you buy my fragrance, you basically, are making a part of, my journey, a part of my channel and everything. You're in the fragrance army. You're no longer like a fragrance private. You're a fragrance sergeant now. You've really come through. You belong now. You're a part of something. When you buy a Chanel bottle, when you buy a Dior bottle, do you think to yourself, "Hey, I'm now a part of Chanel. I'm now a part of Dior"? And if you think that, does it even matter? Who cares, right? But with Jeremy, everybody wants to feel like they're a part of this, big sense of group hug or whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, that's another big thing with the Jeremy Fragrance campaign. Everybody just feels that, they're a part of something big. Uh, I think in this world with all the social media and everything, everybody kind of feels alone and isolated, but now they feel like they're part of something bigger and better than themselves. And Jeremy is making that possible for them. And I think that's great. I wish Jeremy the best in this campaign. I don't have a jealous brain cell towards him or anything. I mean, you know, he's successful, he's intelligent, he knows what he's doing, and he's proved it by his Kickstarter campaign. And the longer he stays at it, I'm sure the more successful he'll be. So best luck, Jeremy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Jeremy, if you're watching, please comment down below. Let me know what you thought of my video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll talk to you later.